So, well, a lot going on as COSATU edges towards electing some of its own leadership. The elective conference of the African National Congress is getting closer and closer, and the race certainly is starting to heat up. Just after former President Jacob Zuma confirmed that he'd been approached by a number of comrades asking him to avail himself for the position of national chairperson of the ANC, the former president also coming out in a statement and saying that he's more than willing to avail himself, but also coming out in support of Dr. Zweli Zuma in the position of president of the African National Congress. But in the statement, the former president also saying that he will be guided by the branches of the African National Congress. And it seems the branches of the party, certainly in KZN, have spoken out. Just a few moments ago, the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal outlining the outcomes of their special provincial executive committee, naming who they believe should take up the position of the top six of the national party of the African National Congress. So let's look at what those candidates really are that have been announced by the African National Congress in KZN. Begim Dolo announcing early, of course, he's a secretary of the ANC in KZN, saying that they are putting their support behind Zweli Mkhize as president of the African National Congress, Paul Mashatile as deputy president, and Stanley Mathabata as chairperson. But let's get some analysis and response to that. I'm joined now by political analyst Dr. Ntsikelelo Breakfast. Dr. Breakfast, a good morning to you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Your reaction here, were you expecting that this is the way that the PEC in KwaZulu-Natal would sway?
Of course not, Naledi. I think the forces of RET are faced with two threats. The first threat comes from within, because at the moment they are not functioning as a unified force. They are fragmented. There are a lot of presidential candidates. For instance, you have Dr. Mkhize, you have Dr. Zuma. Later on, you might have also Minister Sisulu, meaning that they are not posing a threat to the other camp that they are up against, namely the CR22 faction. So I think their position is weakened. But the only thing that is strategic about what they are doing is that they are joining forces also with other provinces, because I see that they've managed to cross over and nominate other candidates that do not come from them. Like, for instance, I see the name of the chairperson of Limpopo. I see the name of I think Pumulo Maswana, and also other names that are not associated with the forces of RET.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is interesting. What do you think the reaction is going to be, though, for Dr. Zweli Zuma and perhaps even for former President Jacob Zuma, considering that there was this expectation that the province may lean towards them?
Naledi, I was taken aback by that move. I did not see that coming, largely because at some point the forces of RET did not have a champion after Ace Magashula was suspended. And the only person that I thought maybe was going to emerge as their embodiment was Dr. Mkhize or Lindiwe Sisulu. So the only conclusion I can arrive at the moment as to why the name of Dr. Zuma has been mentioned is that maybe former President Zuma is looking for political protection, or he's got an unfinished business, but also that signifies that there might be some trust issues, because why would former President Zuma pick and choose another contender, but there have been other contenders that have shown ambitions to stand for the presidents of the ANC.
What do you make, though, of the selection of the KZN PEC of the ANC? Zweli Mkhize as president, Paul Mashatile as deputy president, Stanley Mathabata as chairperson. Do you think that they have put together a quality list?
Well, Naledi, first of all, we must acknowledge that before the unveiling of that list, there have been a number of deliberations between KZN alongside other provinces. So I think they are trying to get a buy-in from other provinces so that their candidates can also get votes, not only from KZN, but also from other provinces. But the problem is that, people, Naledi, they can change at the 11th hour at the conference. It doesn't mean that because there is a list that is consolidated by a particular block, all the branches from those provinces are going to vote according to that list. We saw what had happened at the 11th hour in the previous conference when people from Mpumalanga, who were led by David Mabuza, voted the other way around, as opposed to what was agreed upon in the beginning.
Yeah, and just quickly before I let you go there, Dr. Breakfast, I mean, what sway do you think that the KZN province in and of itself, and also with the announcing of their preferred list of candidates, what sway do you think they have on branches as well in other parts of the country, especially as we get to that elective conference?
Well, I mean, first of all, KZN has the majority of branches. So I think they want to make sure that they have someone who's going to represent the aspirations of radical economic transformation. But I don't think that their plan is going to achieve its intended objective, largely because, for instance, Limpopo, it has a stronghold of CR22 faction. The same goes to the Eastern Cape. So the fact that they've been having deliberations does not mean that those votes are guaranteed from other provinces outside KZN.
Yeah, well, we're starting to see the candidates list get clearer and clearer as we get closer to December. Dr. Breakfast, thank you so much for speaking to us. That they are political analyst, Dr. Ntsikelelo.